Good morning, everyone. Let's begin with giving charity today, as usual. Charity saves from death, tzedakah tatzil mimovet, and for sure it saves from things which are less um, desirable than that. And not only that, charity brings the future redemption. The Jewish people will be redeemed with tzedakah. So here, let's give charity, and charity will be redeemed. Good. Now we're continuing learning Likuti Torah. And the Rebbe is trying to tell us over here, basically, what a Jew has to do in the world. What's really the difference between the Jews and the non-Jews? Now especially it's coming up to a very big head. Do we need the Christian support in Israel? Are they necessary? And do we dare not say anything against them because they'll stop their support, and we need their support and their support and their support. And it's pretty obvious that all they want to do is just convert all the Jews. I mean, that's their stated purpose. Just like the Arabs want to do it, physically, as they want to do it spiritually. But physically, we see people want to kill us. Even though we've ignored that for who knows how long, the state of Israel has ignored it, and we give them land, and we make peace agreements and treaties, and they break the peace agreement immediately. But we still, we try to ignore the physical threat, but the spiritual threat, we don't even know that there is one. We don't know that there is one. I mean, we can see people want to kill us, that we can ignore, but it's a little bit hard to ignore it after a while. But the spiritual threat that's coming from Christians, especially, I mean, they want us to just leave Judaism, basically, or redefine Judaism. So what is really Judaism? We don't feel that there's any threat because we don't know what Judaism is. We don't know what we're protecting. But on the other hand, Jews do know, and they are proud, and they are even willing to give their lives, even non-religious Jews, for the fact that they're Jews, which we see from the army and from the people that came and settled the land of Israel. Even though that they were avowed Zionists and avowed atheists and everything, but they were willing to give their lives and to fight for a Jewish state, and the fact that they're Jews and they're willing to to save their Jewish brothers and etc. So what really is a Jew? What's really going on here in Judaism? So one thing we can see with Judaism that's totally different from any other religion, etc., is this whole story of going out of Egypt. That God, according to Judaism, God creates the world. And Chassidut explains that God is creating the world all the time because the world is basically made from nothing. So how does it exist? So God is constantly creating it, constantly bringing it into existence. And that God who's creating everything, he chose the Jews and he put them in Egypt, and he took them out of Egypt. Right? Put them in Egypt, and he took them out of Egypt. Why did he put them in Egypt in the first place? That's a very good question. But in any case, he took them out of Egypt. And when he took them out of Egypt, it ended up that they had to travel 42 journeys in the desert until they came to the promised land, to Israel. In Israel. So that's what this week's Torah portion is talking about. These are the journeys of the Jewish people going out of Egypt. So the Rebbe asked the question once again, there was only one journey to go out of Egypt. The first journey, they left Egypt. What do you mean the journeys to go out of Egypt? So the Rebbe explains your whole life. And from the time the Jews went out of Egypt, 3,300 and 30-something years ago, since then, the Jews have been going out of Egypt because the goal is to bring Moshiach. And Moshiach is going to be a person that's going to reveal what reality really is, what it means to please God, how in this world we can please God. A simple language, Mashiach will reveal true values, right? People in this world, they love things, right? There's television, there's advertisements, love this, right? Drink Coca-Cola, buy this type of car, use this type of ointment, use this type of elixir, right? Whatever it is, visit here, visit there, visit there. This is what you like. This is what you want. Here's beautiful music, here's sports, here's this. That's what people like, right? People like, it enlivens people. That's their whole life, what they like. If you don't get what you like, so you get depressed, you get angry. And Judaism is supposed to come to reveal what is really valuable, what you should really love. Or in simple language, to love God. God is creating everything, so therefore we can see godliness in everything in the world. And that's then in Shema Yisrael. When we say Shema Yisrael, the prayer of Shema Yisrael, which is the motto of Judaism, mission statement of Judaism, it says, contemplate, Jews, understand. Shema means understand. Understand, Jews. Think about it. God is our power. God is one, and you should love God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your might. To love God. In other words, to appreciate God. How can you appreciate God if you don't see him? So that's the whole idea of going out of Egypt. Egypt is a state where you don't see God, you don't feel God, you don't know what a Jew is, you have no Jewish identity, you just know that you're a Jew. Down deep, you know that you're a Jew. Down deep somewhere, you know the Jewish people are different, you know the Jewish people have a different job than everybody else. You know deeply down that God exists. Deep down, the Jews know that the Torah is true. Deep down. Deep down, the Jews know, every Jew wants to do the commandments, wants to do what God wants. Good, it depends on education. It depends on the blessing of God. Even if you have education, that you really want to do what it says, what God says. But nevertheless, that's called going out of Egypt. Making God more and more real, feeling more and more the creator, and putting the creation in its proper place. Feeling the creator, and therefore putting the creation in its proper place. Okay. So it says, therefore, in order to do this, you need three things: love and fear and mercy. Love means that you love God and that you want to do whatever God says. He's creating us, he's giving us life, he's giving us everything that we have, the whole entire world. You start to realize how infinitely God is. God is not our enemy. He's not in competition with us. God is creating us. We don't feel this, but little by little, when you think about it, you can. That's Shema. Shema means understand. Think about it. Then you can come to love God. And in this love, says the Rebbe, is included also fear, because you're afraid. You love God so much, you're afraid of doing anything against God. You're afraid of insulting God, of being ingratiate. What is ingratiate? Not to be grateful, not to appreciate God. Not to appreciate God. You're afraid to, so say, go against God because he's so good. He's so lovable, so good. So that's called fear. And then when you realize it's very difficult to do this and we're stuck down here, then it's mercy. We ask for mercy. It says all of this, that we're aware of God and we want to come closer to God. And we love God and we appreciate God more and more. And we have fear of being far away from God. We don't want to do anything against God. And we have mercy. We connect. And it's all a relationship between us and God. Excuse me. All this is talking about Kriya Shema. All this is when we say Shema Yisrael, that you're sitting in the synagogue or wherever, and you're separated from the world. Shemit Bonen, that you contemplate in the oneness of God, the upper unity of God. We said before that that's what Moses gave to the Jewish people. But Kol Hayom, the rest of the day, She'achra tefillah, after you finish praying and after you finish thinking about the oneness of God. Excuse me. Like I said before, if you really sort of want to understand what this going on, what this idea of Jewish prayer is, you have to buy yourself a Jewish prayer book, because a genuine Jewish prayer book, right? Not reformed, conservative, a genuine 100% Jewish prayer book that has the prayers, and it doesn't make any difference which there's Sephardi, there's Ashkenazi. That makes no difference. All of them are built on the same principle of praising God, then coming to really appreciate God, then coming to love God, and then asking God to help us fix up the world. That's the Shemon Esrei. So it says all of this is when you're saying Shema Yisrael. You're thinking, you remove yourself from the world. The world is not interfering with you. The world is not arousing your feeling of yourself, but you think about God's self, Yechudi Eloah, the upper unity of God. That, we said, is what Moses did, what Moses led the Jewish people. What about our own? Now we're here to do. But Kol Hayom. What about the rest of the day? What about when we finish learning Chassidut. And what about the rest of the day? One second, let me get this here. The rest of the day, it's after prayer, or these bonus that you're not able to sit and contemplate what we said before. You're in your business, you're working with people, you're dealing with a normal person. You cannot pray the whole entire day. You can't be thinking about God the whole day. You have to think about, you're in the business, you have a hardware store, you have to give a person his the proper, drill bit in his thing. You can't say, you got to, I would like to have, please, a saw. So God is one, the Lord is creating the world. Hey, what are you doing? I want a broom. I want this. You can't do that. You have to provide the needs of people. You have to be in the world. The whole rest of the world, when you cannot think about God, like the rabbi said, it should only be that man should be able to pray the whole day and others be aware of God the whole day. But when you can't, you have to deal with the world. Therefore, there are 7 emotions in the soul. 7 emotions. That corresponds to the 7 days of creation. They correspond to the 7 emotions of God. And there's love, fear, mercy. That's Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet. Then there's Netzach, Hod, Yesod. Netzach means victory. Victory. Victory means not reckoning with the enemy. You're victorious before you even start. She'u b'chinas ahava. This comes from what's called a concealed love. Shebakol nefesh Yisrael, which is in every single Jew, b'toldoto, born, from the time you were born. Again, what is a Jew? He loves God. He has fear of God. Naturally, his relationship is with God. That's what we're called, sons of God. We're called servants of God. A Jew feels God. It's called the godly soul. The natural soul feels the world like everybody else. But a Jew has an additional soul. That's what makes a Jew a Jew. That's what we got from Abraham. An additional soul. This additional soul loves God. It appreciates God. And God is the only reality. God is creating everybody. He's creating everyone. So that's a real life. It says that you love God and you fear God and you have mercy about God. It says, but that's what's called the essential revealed emotions. But then there's what's called victory. What's victory? Victory is when you're in the world, you don't feel love of God. You don't feel this, but you make a vow, a resolution deep in your soul. I'm a Jew, and the world is not going to take me away from that. The world is not going to disturb my Jewishness. But it could be you don't even know how to explain it. That's called victory. Yaakov, Chevel Nachalato. It says Jacob. This year we're talking about Yisrael. But what we talked about before is Yisrael. Feeling, revealed, love of God, fear of God, awe of God. But then there's the rest of the day where you don't have these revealed emotions and you have to deal with the world. So what do you have then? Then you have what's called the essence Judaism, hidden Judaism. Hidden Judaism that motivates you to, how do you say, defy the world, defy the world, even though the world is dominant. When you're praying, God is dominant. When there, the world is dominant. So what are you supposed to do when the rest of the day? You see the world, you hear the world, you feel the world. When you're praying, you don't see the world, you see the synagogue. It says the rest of the day, it says that's the level of Jacob. Jacob, it says Jacob is Chevel Nachalato. Jacob, it says, is the portion of God's inheritance. But Chevel also means like a rope. The Jewish people are Chevel, they are a Chelik Hashem Amo. The Jewish people are a part of God. Every Jew is a part of God. That's called this rope that attaches from below to above. So therefore, Yeshlam Ahava Rabba Bativam. Therefore, every Jew naturally loves God. What does everybody naturally love God? Let's just take a simple example. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out why. Everybody, every normal person naturally loves themselves. Everybody loves themselves. When you're hungry, you want to eat. When you work, you want to get paid. When you are cold, you want to cover yourself up, right? If somebody takes your food away from you, you get angry. If somebody takes your clothes away from you, you're going to be cold, you get angry, right? Why is it that if someone takes food away from somebody else, I don't get angry? If somebody else takes clothes from somebody else, I don't get angry for it. not as angry as I do of myself. Why? Because people naturally love themselves. Why do they love themselves? Because they feel that they exist. The most obvious thing in the world, the most real thing is me. I feel I exist, obviously. So therefore, when it's cold and my flesh feels cold, so I want to cover myself up. When I'm hungry, I want to eat. That the most natural thing in the world, because I'm sure that I exist. What about other people? I'm not so sure they exist. I know they exist, I mean, intellectually, but it's not as, how do you say, in my flesh as it is. But, well, the same thing is with the natural soul. That's the natural soul. The godly soul of a Jew, it feels God, because God exists just like I exist and I feel my existence. Well, God exists, his existence is more real than mine. We just don't feel it. God is creating me. I just don't feel it. But deep down, every Jew does feel it. Deep down, every Jew does feel that there is God and that God is creating everything and that he's creating everything for a reason. That's the Torah. Deep, deep down. That's why the Jewish people are called Am Kashe Orav, a stiff-necked people. What does it mean, stiff-necked people? You take a Jew and he can say he doesn't believe in God, he doesn't believe in anything. You say, okay, now change your religion. And suddenly he'll say, I'm not going to do it. Shema Yisrael, I'm a Jew, I'm going to do. Why? What do you care? Right? What do you care? What difference does it make to you? I don't know. I don't understand it. But I cannot bow down to anything else except for the creator of the universe. You can trick me and say, no, this is the creator of the universe. It's the representative. It's the son of the creator of the universe. It's his representative, his ghost. It says, listen, all that stuff my mind is willing to accept, and I don't want to die. But even more, I don't want to deny God. I can't deny the God of Israel. I can't do it. That's what's called Am Kashe Orav. Deep down, every Jew has this tremendous love for God, because every Jew knows and feels that the Creator is good. The Creator is creating everything. And the Creator has a Torah. He has a plan. And this is the Creator's plan. I can't go against it. I can't go against it. Okay, so we see, of course, there's a lot of Jews that that go against the Torah. The whole state of Israel is founded on going against the Torah, right? It's founded against. So we see, but deep, deep down, we see that it's not so. One example was in the 6 Day War. In the 6 Day War, we miraculously took the wall, the Kotel. We came to the Kotel as the soldiers, a lot of the soldiers were like from these far left communist kibbutzim, Shomer HaTzair. They had pictures of Stalin on the wall, really. And they cried. They cried. They came to the Kotel, they cried, and they didn't understand why. And the Gera Rebbe, the Rebbe of Gera, he sent his Hasidim down with Chabad to put tefillin on people. All of a sudden, people that never put on tefillin, they were against their father, their grandfather, didn't put on tefillin. Their father was a communist, their grandfather was a Bundist, whatever it is, and their great grandfather was a enlightened Jew, right? He was a pupil of Mendelssohn or something like that. And they all of a sudden put on tefillin, and they came from really. That's what happened. All of a sudden, it woke up inside of them. Oh, I'm a Jew. I'm a Jew. What did he wake up inside of? What he's a Jew? What does it mean? He's a Jew. He doesn't do any Torah, doesn't do any commandments, doesn't do Shabbos, doesn't do anything. But he's a Jew. What's a Jew? A Jew is a person that recognizes he loves God. That's God. Therefore, the rabbis say, Gimel Azim Heim Bi'im. There are 3 things that are, how do you say, the defiant. Azim, defiant. Oh, there's a better word. Defiant things. It says among the animals is the dog, among the birds is the rooster, and among the nations is Israel. It's a Gemara in Beitza. Shehem B'tivam, the Jewish people, by their nature, they are azim. They are, how do you say, chutzpahdik, the chazakim, and very strong. The midat hanitzuach, to be victorious, to defeat anything which opposes Judaism. La'avat Hashem, to love God with a tremendous love. Av b'li shum itbonon, without any contemplation. V'hu kamol mashal. This is like halacha pasuka. It's like a decided law. Shekachu adin. That's the way it is. B'li shum tam. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any reason why. Right? Like in America, they drive on the right side of the street. In England, they drive on the left side of the street. That's the law. You don't ask any questions. I'm not going to do it until I know the law. And I'm not going to stop on a red light until I understand why. What are you talking about? Even more, it's like I'm not going to eat until I understand what food does to you, what type of vitamins are there, and what type of how do vitamins work, and how minerals work, how it exactly works in the body. I want to understand. I want to understand the whole thing. That's ridiculous, right? Same thing. It's just nature that a Jew loves God. 1 second. That's natural. Okay, so that is how we go through the desert. 42 journeys. On the next page. Oh. ובכין זה זהו הראה הקודש ברוך הוא, this level of what do you call it, of the insane love, deep love of God without any logic whatsoever. This God showed to Jacob. That there will be the last generations that they won't have love of God by means of thinking about him. You can think all you want, you won't have love. Because our minds are too small to think about this. But all they will have is victory. Victory. Where did God show this to Jacob? That's what is Vayabek Ishimo. It says that Jacob fought with an angel, and that he hit the angel. It says the angel hit him. Bakaf Yerecho, in his thigh. In his thigh. What does it mean in his thigh? That the Jacob was he fought with an angel. It says, what's the angel? The angel is basically the angel of the world. Is basically the angel of the world. And how did he defeat this angel? How did he stand up to the angel? He says, well, he had the aspect of victory. Of victory. It says that he hit him in his thigh. The thigh, the human body corresponds to the emotions. So the right side is love, the left side is fear, the middle side is mercy, and the thigh, that's netzach and hod, that's victory and surrender. So with the power of victory, the angel hit him on the side of victory. That gave him the power that even in the last generations where there wouldn't be our generation, where we can think about God all we want and we don't get love, but we do have this victory. Victory. I am a Jew. And I can't help but to tell you the story again that I told so many times, but I'll just tell it in a short way. This was told to me my beloved teacher, Rabbi Moshe. 1 second. Oh, there we go. Rabbi Moshe Naparstak, here's a picture of him. Here's my teacher, one of my teachers. Oh, Rabbi Moshe. So Rabbi Moshe Naparstak told me a story that one in Hebron in 1929, there was a massacre. The Arabs came and massacred Jews. And among the Jews that lived in Hebron was an apostate Jew. His name was Menashe, and he joined with the Arabs. Could be even changed his religion. And he joined with the Arabs. He was chumming around with them. He liked the Arabs. So when the Arabs from the surrounding area came and started killing Jews, so he was sitting with his friends, his Arab friends, and the murderers burst into the house. They were looking for Jews, and they said, "Are there any Jews here?" And his friends said no. And they said, "What about him? He says, no, he's an Arab. He's just like us." And the Arabs said, "Okay, sorry," and they left. And because he was with the Arabs for so long, so he looked like them, he acted like them, and so that's it. He had picked the winning side. He rejected the Jewish community in Hebron. There was a vibrant Jewish community. There's a lot of Chabad also. He rejected them totally, and he identified with the Arabs. So he was on the winning side. The Jews were being killed, and he was saved because he was an Arab. So he might have made the right choice. His friend said he stood up, ran out into the street after the murderers, and said, "I'm a Jew, I'm a Jew," and they killed him. So what happened? All of a sudden, woke up this nitzachon, this victory. Victory. You're not going to defeat my Jewish identity. You're not. I didn't want to die. For sure, he didn't want to die. I mean, he wanted to have a good time. That's why he left Judaism. He wanted to do whatever he wanted to, right? But suddenly, that one thing was too much. It was too much, right? I can't totally deny my Judaism. So he ran on this. That's the power of. So that's what was given by Yaakov when he defeated the angel. The Hodah. That's Netzach. What about Hod? Hod is, we're talking about how to utilize all of our 7 emotions to serve the Creator. That's the going through the desert. The going through the desert, it says it was to purify the 7 emotions 6 times. Here we're talking about, though, from above to below. That's from Moses, the upper unity. That's 7 times 7. So each one of the emotions is 1, and each one contains 7. So that's 7 times 7. So now we're explaining how to refine, how to use all of our emotions to serve God. So we finished talking about love and fear and mercy. Tiferet is mercy. And victory. What about Hod? Hod is surrender. Hod is the Inyan Shemodeh ala emet. Hod is that you surrender to the truth. Shekenu. Afim weinu masih. Even though you don't understand it, like we say, Modim anachnu lak. We surrender to you, God. She'ata Hashem Elokeinu, that you are a God. What does it mean? This is in the prayers in the Shemona Esrei, right near the end. We surrender to God. What does it mean? Hagam, even though she'einu masikim, we don't understand anything. This is like in the time of exile. Some say that the holidays of Purim and Chanukah correspond to this Netzach and Hod. Netzach and Hod. Some say one, some say the other. Usually it's Chanukah is Hod, the Hodot or Halel, and Purim is Nitzachon, right? The Yehudim or of a Simcha. But in any case, that's Netzachon. That means serving God even though you don't understand. Serving God even though your whole personality screams out, what are you serving God for? What are you talking about? Live a normal life. What do you have to do these things? Your whole personality, but somehow or other, there's 2 other aspects of the emotions which don't depend on intellect, and they don't even depend on love or fear or anything that's normal personality. And this is what's called self-sacrifice. Netzach is you're willing to give your life. Nothing is going to defeat your Judaism. Hod is admitting the truth. Even though, like it says, even though we don't understand what God is. And exactly that, we understand that God does not exist. We understand that you can get along very well without God. There's big professors, big philosophers, big geniuses that they say there's no such thing as God. And if there is such a thing as God, then he doesn't care about the world. He's too high up from the world, right? Etc. And all these other reasons for saying that, God is not lovable. It's not valuable. It's not, how do you say, practical. God, even if he does exist, maybe for the religious people who are talking about going to heaven or something. Where he says, but a Jew, even though he doesn't understand what God is, and even though he understands that God is not, nevertheless, he surrenders himself to God. Nevertheless, he admits that I don't understand it, but nevertheless, God exists. He's our God. There's a big difference between blessing and giving thanks. Lashon bracha, blessing, that's drawing godliness down. You're doing something. Bricha, you're, so to speak, revealing God in the world. Hodah, giving thanks to God, this does not means that you're not making the blessing. You don't understand God at all. There's no logic. There's no reason. Rakshu modeh, I just admit that this is the truth. That's the mitzvah. Where do you see this a lot of times? A lot of times you can see this if a big genius comes in, a big genius professor or something, a doctor. You go into the doctor, right? A person goes into the doctor, and the doctor says, listen, you have a condition that is called, xylophone syndrome. And in order to fix this up, you have to stand on one leg and, pour cold water on your right hand and do that 34 times a day, and you'll be healed. Now, a person could say, well, that's the most stupid thing I don't know what I ever heard. But the doctor says, if the doctor says, he's a learned person, so I surrender myself to him. What possible good could it do? This xylophone syndrome is that, my eyes are crossed and I always get angry. whenever I hear, the note C sharp or something, some crazy thing. Right? What possible good could that do standing on one leg? Or to take a shot, right? He takes a shot, gives an injection. Hey, doctor, what are you doing? I feel bad enough. No, I'm giving you an injection. An injection will make you feel better. But that's ridiculous. How can an injection make me feel better? It just makes me feel bad. I don't want an injection. Even though you don't understand it, you say, okay, this is a doctor. If the doctor says it, it's okay. That's why, by the way, the Lubavitcher Rebbe said that you should always get the concurring opinion of two doctors. You should never take one. That's what the Rebbe said. You should never go according to one doctor. If it's a serious thing, you should always go to at least two doctors, and they should try to get a concurring opinion. And one of those doctors should be a friend of the family, because we trust doctors blindly. A doctor says something, we blind. Doctors are like God. What do they say something? We just believe it. Here we had this whole big scam with the corona scam. The doctors say you got to follow the science, And the Rakshu Moda, that's the idea of Hoda. Hoda means total surrender to the truth, even though you don't understand it. Okay, doctors and those things, that's you can, sometimes they're wrong, but God is never wrong. God is never wrong. If God says to do something, so we do it. We do what it says. Right? What are you talking about? What right? Certainly not. I'm not going to do things I don't understand. Why should I do it? It says a Jew though has Hodah, and Hodah means I'll do it even though I don't understand it at all. I'll surrender myself. But yes, so that's so up to now we've talked about love, fear, mercy, victory, surrender. That's 5 of the emotions. We have 2 more. Right? And as I say, the Jews traveling through the desert, they refined the 7 emotions. Therefore, there were 42 journeys. They refined the 7 emotions, each one containing 6. We'll talk about that. Why 6? Why not 7? The Yesod, now we have the 2 bottom emotions. Yesod, this is attachment. In English, it's called interest. When you're interested in something, you're attached to it. Right? That's called Yesod. Shemakasher dato, that you attach your feeling of reality, va'omek adat, and you deepen your feeling of reality into godliness. Yesh b'zeh, yesh b'chinas zu, b'kol mida, whether love or fear. This is the aspect of interest that becomes like real to you. And this is called kikol b'shamayim, or it's in the prayer of King David that he praised God when they brought the ark back. We say this every day. It says, L'cha Hashem ha'gedula v'ha'gevura v'ha'tiferes v'netzach v'hod, kikol b'shamayim words. It says, to you, God is the bigness, that's love. Ha'gevura, the power, that's fear. Ha'tiferet, that's mercy. Ha'netzach v'hod, we just said that. And kol b'shamayim of words, that's Yesod. Because Yesod makes everything real. It connects a person to the creator. It's an external connection. Yesod. Interest, to be interested in something. Okay. Similarly, also, you have to have, okay, so that is 6 aspects of love. Hine, kamokin, also, b'chinas yira, also in fear, also you have to have all these 6 aspects. Hainu gamkein al yedei, by means of thinking about the oneness of God, you accept on yourself the yoke of heaven in love and will. That's fear. The yoke of heaven means I am a servant. Loving God means I'm a son of God. Fear of God means I'm a servant of God. Being a servant of God, in loving God, there's all these 6 aspects we just talked about. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet. Fear of God also has these 6 aspects we talked about. Fear means to be a servant of God. When you think about that, being a servant of God, then there's the 6 aspects. Number 1, loving God. Loving God means lo yeh ola love lamasa, so that you'll enjoy serving your master like a servant that loves his master. La'avat Hashem Elokecha, to love God because He's your life. Elokecha, your God. This is fear. You accept on yourself the yoke of heaven. Tosim alecha melech ki hu chayecha. Why? Because He's your life. So that's love. The aspect of love. We're going to talk about 6 aspects of fear, of being a servant of God. So first of all, there's loving your master. Also, Yirat Hashem L'chaim, fearing your master. Well, why should we fear God? To be a servant of God in fear? It says, because this is a very good thing. Kol Chayot Olamot, all the life of the worlds comes from God's kingship. And that's worthy of fear. Malchutcha Malchut Kol Amin. Ke'en Melech Belo Am. Therefore, you accept on yourself the yoke of heaven with love. Like it says, everyone receives, like the angels receive on themselves the yoke of with love. And this is chesed. This is the love, which is gevura. V'kein also yolo yiv'at b'yasurim ki melech mishpat yamid oretz. Also, you will not reject God because of difficulties. A servant, a true servant, like a soldier, even if it's difficult, even if it's hard, even if he gets wounded, he still loves his country. There's the same thing with it. That is love. That's love. And by means of thinking deeply, also you have fear. This is fear. I sort of jumped the gun over here. Fear. Yira. V'nichlal bo also is mercy. You serve God with fear. You have fear of your master. Master is so great. And also, and this is mercy. What does it mean, mercy? Mercy on your soul. Mercy is you're serving God. I'm a servant of God. And I think about God. I try to love God. And I want to fear God, but it doesn't work. Right? I can have fear for a human ruler. A human ruler you can have fear for. A human ruler you can have love for. But what God, I don't see him, I don't know. Says, therefore, you have, that's the third aspect, mercy. Mercy. The Rebbe is telling me God exists, but no matter how much I think about God and I contemplate God, ein mitpal, I don't get excited from all these thoughts. The ein pachad Elokim neged einav, I don't have any fear of God, I don't have any love. So therefore, you're rachmim rabim. Therefore, I arouse mercy on my soul. So now we're talking about the 6 aspects, emotions, which are inside of fear. For the last paragraph, we talked about the 6 emotions, how they're inside of love. Now we're talking about 6 emotions, how they're inside of fear. When we finish all these 6 emotions, which are inside of the 7, each one which are inside of the 7 major emotions, right? Each emotion of the 7 contains 6. That's the 42. That's the 42 journeys. Okay, so now we're talking about mercy, being a servant. That's fear. The 6 aspects of fear. Love means you love your master. Fear means you fear your master. Here we're talking about God. Mercy means even though I think about God and I want to love him and I want to fear him, but I don't understand what to fear. Therefore, I have mercy. Rachamim b'tefillah to. You have great mercy. That I want God to be revealed. Have mercy on me. Come down to my level. That's what it means. Baruch atah Hashem. That's what it means. Blessed are you, God. That God, we're asking God, have mercy on us and reveal yourself a little bit because we can't deal with you, God, when you're concealed. That's what the rabbis say. Al yasadam tefillah tokeva. Don't make your prayer. It's in Brachot and Mishnah. Don't make your prayer set, but rachamim v'tachnonim. It should be emotional, mercy and how do you say supplication, begging in front of God. Please, God, reveal yourself. I'm praying to you. I believe in you, but I don't feel you. I want to. It says in your prayers when you pray should be emotional, love, fear. What if you don't have love and fear? Then mercy. In front of Hamakom, in front of God. Now, one of the names of God is Hamakom. Hamakom. God is called the place. Hamakom. It's the name of God. Makom, we say that God is the place. This is what's the upper unity. The upper unity, because Hu Makomo Shel Olam, because God is the place of all the world. So to speak, all of the worlds, physical, spiritual, are within God. Within God. Everything is within God. Of course, that's sort of like a misleading because God is not a thing that he contains something, right? Something. But nevertheless, that's the fact. Like you can say there's geometry, there's algebra, there's trigonometry, there's calculus, and it's all inside of mathematics. And mathematics is inside of consciousness. So it's, so to speak, all these ideas in mathematics, all the formulas and things like that, mathematics, they're all just inside of a bigger set, which is mathematics, which is a bigger set, which is consciousness, which maybe you can say is there's a bigger set, which is called life. So the same thing, all of the worlds, the places, they're within God. That's why God is called the place. He's like the ultimate reality. And because we don't understand that, we have to request mercy before Hamakom. Therefore, we're asking mercy for God that this level which surrounds all the world's true reality should be revealed. That we should be revealed godliness. And it's not too much to ask because that's reality. We're also real, right? Good. We're not as real as God is. Maybe we're not as real as the spiritual worlds, but at least we're real. And not only that, God gave us the Torah. And he wants us to love him. It's a commandment to love him. And he made it impossible. He made it impossible. We don't know we don't feel God. You can think, you can pretend, right? Like a play actor, the movie actors or television actors, they pretend that they're afraid. They pretend that they're, that they're rich. They pretend they're a king. They pretend, right? And they pretend that they do very good acting. We can also pretend that God exists. We can pretend that God, say, okay, good, maybe it's better than nothing. But the fact is, I want genuine. It says, therefore, we request mercy. And so that's the aspect of mercy within being a servant of God, within fear. And also all the different emotions, they include also in Gevura, what we said before. And all the details become connected to God. That's the idea of the 42 journeys in the desert. 6 times 7 is 42. Okay, that's from below to above. That's what we do. That's in the course of the day, serving God from below to above. That's the journeys that Moses and Aaron took us through the desert. And we're going to talk about this more, God willing, tomorrow. Let's just start. We'll see. Let's just start the next one. It says that's from below to above, but from above to below, it's 49 journeys, like in Sfirat Omer, like counting the Omer. If you come from above to below, then you're drawing down into what's called the lowest aspect. It's called Malchut. So it's coming down to the 7th. But if you're going from below to above, so we're already starting off from Malchut. Our thing is we want to elevate the world. So the lowest aspect we already have. And we want to go up and refine our emotions so that we have more love of God and more fear of God and more mercy, connected mercy in a real human way. That's what's called refining all the 7 emotions 6 times, elevating the bottom one to the top 6 emotions. But from above to below, it's 49, and that we're going to talk about God willing tomorrow. Okay, let us go now.